Welcome to the Nautical Institute, the international body for maritime professionals. Helping our members to develop their knowledge and professionalism lies at the heart of what we do.
There's no doubt in my mind that my membership in the Nautical Institute has allowed me to grow as a mariner.
It helps you interact and network with other like-minded individuals all over the world.
Our industry is changing rapidly, and you are having to cope with new regulations, new technology, and evolving best practice.
You will actually have to link up or team up with a specific branch somewhere in the world, and they will give you feedback, their views. I think that just really adds to your professionalism, and it will basically be of great help.
Our website is the first port of call to learn more about us and the ways we can support you.
CPD Online is a programme that enables maritime professionals to keep current, to keep up to date. The whole programme is driven on templates that are downloadable from the website. So if you're at sea without internet access, you can download them and take them with you. They can be completed electronically or by hand. And all of the tools and guidance that you'll need to complete these templates and to follow the programme through are provided online.
The Institute is a superb vehicle for ensuring professionals are able to keep up with their professional development. How else can you stay at the cutting edge?
Another great advantage of membership is the Seaways magazine, which contains many articles, is published every month, and has a large amount of information for members on all kinds of shipping and nautical activities.
We have the ability to communicate with each other, voice concerns, put that either on the internet, on the website, or through Seaways.
The Institute produces a great range of publications, and as a member I receive 30% discount, which is just fantastic.
The Nautical Institute is about publishing best practice, and one of the ways that we do that is through our publications. They are written by seafarers or experts in their field for seafarers. So they're in seafarers' language. They're there to help you throughout your career as you rise through the ranks and perhaps as you come ashore and start a new discipline.
Go to our website at nautinst.org to find out more about the benefits of becoming a member. While you're there, explore the range of free resources, such as the reports submitted under our Mariners Alerting and Reporting Scheme. These confidential accounts of accidents and near misses are there to help us all stay safe, whether at sea or ashore. You'll also find out about the work we do to make our members' views known at key industry forums, including the UN's International Maritime Organization and IALA.
The Institute is at the forefront of making sure that the mariner's voice and the seafarer's voice is heard and given prominence.
I think it's really beneficial that the members' views are represented at key international forums such as the IMO, because it gives seafarers a voice.
Belonging to the Nautical Institute and Nautical Institute's philosophy of engaging with rather than disputing or debating, to constructively engage with similar bodies with a common aim of running a safe and efficient shipping. That has tremendous value to the sense of control that an individual member feels.
The Nautical Institute also offers accreditation services that support industry best practices. As a member of the Nautical Institute, you'll be entitled to use letters after your name, reflecting your professional status.
Having that experience, having those letters after my name, having the credibility of being a member of the Nautical Institute really helped me in my career.
It gave me an indication as an employer that the candidate was serious about the industry he was working in.
You'll also have access to a dedicated members area on our website that includes discounts on entry to leading industry events.
There is so much we can offer as a Nautical Institute. Our seminars, our conferences are absolutely top-notch.
I got the value of being a member of the Nautical Institute, particularly through networking. I needed to meet these people to advance my career.
Run by members for members, the Nautical Institute provides you with the ideal framework to support your professional role within the industry. Want to know more? Email us at member@nautinst.org or call us on 020 7928 1351. That's London, so dial country code 44 if calling from outside the UK. We'd love to hear from you.
We have a tendency, mariners do, to believe that our way, in our little part of the world, this must be the only way to do it. And of course, there's 1,000 ways to do it. And that broadening of our horizons, it's good for everybody. The Nautical Institute provides that platform.
It's a wonderful organisation which has an outreach which is worldwide.
Without the Nautical Institute, I don't think I would be the mariner I am today.
As an international, independent and self-governing body, the Nautical Institute is here to serve you throughout your career as a maritime professional.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen. I welcome you all to the Nautical Institute Sri Lanka Branch Youth Forum, webinar number 6. Our webinar would be a very interesting and a very timely topic, which is the orals exams, the examiner and the candidate. We have the privilege of having 3 experts of the field of maritime lecturing and maritime examinations to give us advice and answer our questions in regards to this topic. First, let me introduce you to Captain Upul Peiris, who is a master mariner who has commanded ocean-going vessels from 2007 up to 2015, when he kept his sea salted boots aside and joined the government service as a government ship surveyor for navigation. He has been with MSS till then, and he started his career as an officer cadet in 1992 and has served in different types of ships before promoting to master in 2007. After joining the maritime administration in Sri Lanka, he has undergone various IMO trainings, including marine casualty incident investigation, train the trainers on maritime casualty, training of trainers and assessment, examination and certification of seafarers, implementation of IMO instruments. He is also a Maritime Labour Convention reporting expert, trained at the International Training Center of the ISM, and a qualified international auditor for ISM and ISPS. Captain Peiris has completed and he holds master's degree in public management from Sri Lanka Institute of Development Administration, and he is a chartered member of the Institute of Logistics and Transport UK. He's a forum member of the Organization of Professional Associations, OPA. He's a member of Supply Chain Logistics and Transport Committee of OPA. He's a member of Career Guidance and Skill Development Committee of OPA, and the current Vice President of the Company of Master Mariners of Sri Lanka. Currently, he's reading for the Masters of Laws in International Business, Employment and Human Resources. I welcome you, Captain Upul Peiris, and I thank you for taking up our request and coming today, giving time from your busy schedule, and coming here to give us some guidance on how to perform in orals or Viva exams, which is a key milestone in our academic path, and how to promote ourselves and get to the point of being a master mariner. Before I hand over the evening to Captain Upul, I request from all participants to keep your mics muted and your video off, so that the event will go without any disturbances. And also, I'm letting you all know that we are streaming this event live on our YouTube channel. So participation is from Zoom and YouTube as well. Again, I'm happy and I'm glad to see a lot of senior gentlemen also here, some of our examiners, some of our trainers, lecturers, also some senior gents from our Nautical Institute Sri Lanka branch, including Captain Keith Jayasuriya, who is our Honorable Secretary. They are participating today. Thank you, gents. Once again, good evening, Captain Upul Peiris. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Captain Mario. Let me share my presentation.
Captain, we can see your screen share now. Conduct of oral examinations. Okay, we are the first slide, oral exam.
Right. Thank you. Good evening, all. Thank you for giving the opportunity to present some information about oral examination. So let me start the presentation. So here we are talking about the examiner and the candidate and the oral examination. So I have lined up my presentation accordingly into four subtopics. I'll be presenting on area on competence and assessment of competence. I'll be talking about role of the examiner and how the oral examinations are being conducted and the common issues of candidates that we have seen over the years when we conduct oral examination. So first of all, I want to start with the competence and the assessment of competence. So here we are talking about something related to competence-based examination, and the candidates, after their successful completion of all assessments, they will be awarded with certificate of competency. So the competency is basically about workplace expectations. So we are not talking here about, or we are not concentrating about actual learning process. So we want to, the particular seafarer or the candidate, once he achieved his competency level, after his obtaining his certificate of competency, he would be able to do the task, assign duties satisfactorily. And then he should be able to demonstrate his capacity and to perform the special demands and the requirement of a particular situation. So that is all about competency. So he should be able to perform on board a ship. So assessment of competence is the thing that we do at the sort of examination, whether it's written or oral. So in the formal assessment procedure, there should be an assessment strategy, plan of action, and then formal record of objective evidence. And then the examiner is matching the evidence to specific competence standards that the candidate is to be assessed. And that during the process of assessment, he should also want to look at underpinning knowledge requirements. So basically the assessment strategies are there. That's the administration's part. So whether it's a written or the oral examination, and then he is following a plan of action And the examiner will be recording objective evidence while he's assessing. And then whatever the evidence he gathered, he's comparing with the competence standards, including the underpinning knowledge requirements. So we will look into what are these. So here the basic requirement is the evidence. That is what he is looking for. The examiner is looking for evidence. So when you look at the rules of evidence, the evidence must be valid, authentic, and it should be current, and it should be the evidence should be sufficient. So when we talk about validity, he's looking whether the evidence actually tell anything about individual performance, whether the evidence produced by the individual, whether the evidence he extracted is current, and whether they are matches with the standards. If you look at the standards, where you can find the standards. Standards are mentioned in the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping for Seafarers. So the standards are there. And then you have to look for whether they are current and whether the evidence is enough for him to assess. So these are the rules of evidence that the examiner is looked for. So as you know, the competence-based assessment, it is there to determine whether the candidate's knowledge and skills are sufficient for the safe and competent performance of the duties and functions of the certificate of competence applied for. So if it is for a navigation, the watch officer in charge of a navigational watch, there are certain functions levels to be achieved, and the candidate's knowledge and skills will be assessed whether they are sufficient, whether he is competent to perform the duties. So in doing so, when he is assessed, we will be looking for the candidate's ability to perform to the standards required in employment across a range of circumstances. So you know that on board a ship, every situation is different. So an officer at a different level will face range of circumstances, and he should be able to meet the change in demands. So that those conditions are very key. They are very essential to meet the change in demands. And then also we'll be looking the ability to carry out duties under functions and responsibilities safely and effectively. The functions have been prescribed in the convention and the code, and the responsibility level are there, whether it's operational level or whether the management level. So the carrying out duties within his framework to the higher standards is important. So the role of the examiner or the assessor, he will be assess candidates' knowledge and evidence of performance. He will evaluate the evidence's correct type and quality. As I said, whether they are current, whether they are sufficient enough, authenticity and the validity. And then after evaluation, he will provide a feedback, which includes strengths and weaknesses of the candidate. And then there will be a record of assessment as well. The examiner will take his records. So that's the role of the examiner. So when it comes to conduct of oral examination, in accordance with the STCW code, the assessment of competence, that is any sort of examinations, shall be continuously monitored through a quality standard system, including those concerning the qualification and experience of instructors and assessors. So that means the member states or the contracting governments have been obliged that assessment of competence to be monitored through a quality standard system, including the assessors or the examiners and their instructors. So that's the obligation. So the Sri Lanka as well, we are obliged to monitor through a quality standard system. So when it comes to quality standard, quality assurance, the contracting government need to select suitable examiners based on experience, qualification, skills and competence. Training of examiners, they are not just ordinary examiners, they are trained examiners. And then there is through the quality assurance, there's a monitoring of examiners. And more importantly, continued updating required to cover changes in technology and workplace practices. So they are being continuously updated. Requirements are there to cover the changes in demand. So, continuous amendments, new developments, workplace practices are being continually updated. So the examiners have to be trained and updated accordingly. So that's the quality assurance monitoring through a quality management system. That's the obligation of the government, contracting governments. So when you look at the guiding principles, when we conduct oral examinations, so here the interesting part for the candidates. So the candidates will be looking at how they should be ready, what sort of atmosphere that they're gonna face at the examination. So in the oral examination, they will be tested their ability to communicate ideas, commands, actions, especially for safety critical and environmentally sensitive procedures and tasks. So that's the testing part. The questions will concentrate on the practical nature of the duties the candidate is expected to perform. So if there is a chief mate level candidate, so he has a different role. He's a management level of responsibility. He has a different functions prescribed in the STCW code. So questions will concentrate on the practical nature of duties. So as we said earlier, there is no theories behind, theories will be assessed, but whether he is able to perform on the ship. So when he's being assessed, we expect the candidates to draw diagrams to a sufficient standard and to illustrate to the examiner the required answer. So we want to elaborate it more. Maybe candidates are being asked to do some calculations. So we want to see whether he's able to perform calculations. Maybe they are provided with statutory documents to refer and extract information, like how we are going to extract information of a maritime dangerous good, whether he can refer to a stability booklet, whether he can assess damage stability, whether he can get the sufficient reserve buoyancy is existing. So likewise, he will be provided with necessary documents and going to see whether he is able to perform. That's of course depending on his level of responsibility. So depending on the type of examination he is applied for, he will be provided with this. So the candidate should be able to perform. Again, should demonstrate knowledge, understanding, and proficiency on competencies prescribed in respective table of STCW code. So each and every level, there is functions, and then knowledge, understanding, and proficiency. So he should be able to demonstrate. The examiner will take into account the candidate's depth of knowledge, practical application of knowledge, attitude, and confidence. So the examiner needs to see his confidence level, practical application of knowledge. So bearing in mind, the management level and operational level has to be considered, because most of the candidates, they are not aware about their level of responsibility, especially when transition from operational level to a management level. The candidate is appearing for the management level exam, but he is still at the operational level, but he is not demonstrating his capacity at the management level. So we want to see that his depth of knowledge and the practical application, considering the management level and the operational level. So this is very interesting. Examiner will focus more on critical skill areas. He will spend more time on to assess whether he has a sound knowledge on critical skill area. And then major mistake in a critical skill area will lead to a failure. So that's the basic theory. You can't do major mistakes in critical skill area. So what are these critical areas? You can see on the down below: contingencies and emergency response, functions related to safety of life or the vessel, prevention of pollution, and major operational functions like safety control, operational of vital machinery and equipment. So those critical areas will be given high prominence at the examination. Whereas in other areas, non-critical areas, the knowledge will be, the competence will be assessed, but significant mistakes and the collection of significant mistakes, if there are any significant mistakes, also will lead to a failure, even it is non-critical. But for all grades, the thorough knowledge of, especially understanding of COLREC, is very essential. And during the examination, examiner will look for underpinning knowledge of the candidate when answering to a particular question. So this underpinning knowledge is very important, that whether his answer has a good structure on it, whether he has a good foundation. It's like whether he has included into his answer the record keeping, logbook, checklist, if he has included applicable regulations, whether he has subject knowledge, and more importantly, the communication skills. He will be assessed also for his English language, communication ability. So underpinning knowledge is also very important. The oral examination may include items from the syllabus of a lower grade certificate. That's also is a possibility. In exceptional cases, examiner may ask the candidate to return and provide additional information on the same day. If the examiner is not satisfactorily confident that and he found that minor mistakes, there may be some chances given for him to provide additional information on the same day. So he will be asked to leave the room and then to come back with more information on the same day. So when you look at the this underpinning knowledge, I want to reiterate with the example. So if a question is being asked from a candidate like a passage planning, something related to passage planning at the level of officer in charge of a navigation level, the question may be a small question. How do you conduct, how do you do a passage planning from A to B? And then the examiner is looking for a broader answer. Because most of the time, the examiners are coming up with open-ended questions. Because there is no yes, no answer, he will look for more elaborated answer, which must be included with critical analysis. So when a question being asked with the passage planning, he should be able to definitely come with the theory and all these things, that what he should be done with these 4 stages and all. But we will look for some underpinning knowledge, like whether he's aware of emission control areas, whether he has a knowledge on particularly sensitive sea areas, whether he's taking into these factors when he is doing a passage plan, whether he is aware of fuel oil changeover places, whether he's he has one component in distance calculation for fuel oil changeover locations, whether he is aware of, whether he has a knowledge on category zone of confidence on the EGDIS, CAT-SOC functions, right? Whether he's included a route check functions. So likewise, many things has to be included in that answer. The question is small, open-ended question, and the answer is broader. So we're looking at that whole aspect of it. Maybe there will be some cross-examination in between, but he should be able to demonstrate his capacity because it covers a large area. So at the end of the examination, examiner will provide feedback after completion of the oral examination, especially for failed candidates, a debrief on the incorrect answers, areas of knowledge which require further understanding. During the oral examination, the examiner will take notes and complete the examination checklist. There is, as I said earlier, it is controlled through a quality mechanism, quality procedures. So that's the quality management system that is established at our place. And then examiner will retain all sketches and calculation sheets done by the candidate for future reference. So that's the conduct of oral examinations. General guiding principles that how the things has been shaped up at the examination. So the common issues of the candidates, the last topic. So during my time, my experience by conducting these examinations, we saw many candidates that their lack of confidence in their answers. So how we know that his lack of confidence, that his start and the end and the middle structure of an answer is not line up. So what he said at the beginning is being changed constantly in the midway, and then at the end his answer is completely different from the beginning. So that shows the lack of confidence. And then most of the cases at the management level, failure to assess situations and choose the best approach out of many options. So there is no right or wrong approach. There may be many approaches. So the candidates should be able to evaluate and then to come up with the best approach, right? For that, he need to assess the situation. So we see many failures on that aspect. And then the lack of understanding on the level of responsibility, management level and operational level. So that has to be there because he is assessed for a particular level of responsibility. So he has to understand, and then he should be able to explain the level of responsibility, because at the operational level, he's under the direction of an individual at the management level. So he should be able to demonstrate that Otherwise, he can't perform any task at the management level when he's facing the exam at the operation level. And poor critical analysis. When a situation is given, when an emergency scenario is being given to a particular candidate, he should be able to critically analyze the situation and then come up with a solid answer based on the circumstances and the changing or the demanding situation. Because some of the candidates, they come up with memorized answers. We know that the questions which is being he got from a previous candidates, they know they are having banks of questions for orals. So some of them have a unique answer. But when a scenario is being changed, they are very poor in analyze the situation, and then they are going with the memorized answer. So they should be able to critically analyze situations. And then very importantly, the lack of sufficient knowledge on guidelines developed by the International Maritime Organization. So his answer should be supported with these guidelines. It not should be with other sources, because the IMO is giving the guidance on covering most of the practical aspects. For instance, EGDIS, guidance for good practice is given. And then guidance on fatigue mitigation and management. There is a guidance developed by IMO, which is basically a universal standard. So he has to take these knowledge into account, and then his answer should consist with these guidelines, right? So we see often they are not, I have no any knowledge on the guidance developed by the International Maritime Organization. So they need to have a good understanding on these guidance. Poor presentation skills. So their facial impressions, their communication, lot of different behavior at the examination. That shows that they are not confident, they are not prepared enough. So they have not been well trained for oral examination. So some of them are very good, but we see also very poor presentation skills. So that also gives a good impression to, and it can give an added value to his answer with vocal tone, and then good communication, good English knowledge, and with the facial impressions, and then he can give a good emphasis on his answer. And inability to meet change in demand. So, you know, when the external environment is changing, the conditions are being changed. So he has to have a different approach. So that's the nature of the shipping industry. So he should be able to meet the change in demand. When things have been changed, new amendments come up, new technology come up, he should be able to demonstrate his knowledge, the updated knowledge. And then lack of familiarization of statutory documents. His plans, certificates, manuals, IMDG code, the codes. So they're having a lack of familiarization. For instance, there are candidates who have been appearing for the master examination, but they have experience, the sailing experience as second mate or third mate level. But they are having a chief mate license, but they have not been got a chance to sail as at the management level. So they were sailing as operational level, but then they come and appear for the master's level, master oral examinations. So they on board, they have not seen statutory documents. They have no access to manuals. They are not interested in reading these manuals, plans, management plans, and all. So when they will be questioned on those, they have shown a lack of familiarization. So in conclusion, it has to be understood that the oral examination is an important component of the final assessment for issue of certificate of competency. So it is a very important component, oral examination after the written assessment. So he is required to demonstrate knowledge, understanding, and proficiency on competencies prescribed in respective table of STCW code. So basically the structure is, the syllabus is prescribed in the STCW code, the knowledge, understanding, and proficiency on competencies. And the oral examination concentrate on practical nature of the duties the candidate is expected to perform. And then he will be assessed for his ability to perform across a range of circumstances and to meet the change in demand. So that is the key to success. If he is able to perform across range of circumstances and to meet the change in demand, he will be successful. So if he's lacking knowledge and he is unable to meet the change in demands, like when the condition change, he should be able to answer accordingly. He should be able to understand the situation and then structure his answer accordingly. And then it is required a good preparation before appearing at the examination. So we instruct maritime colleges to train the candidates to have a small preparation before the exams. So, as the oral examinations is an important component, better preparation and ability to perform across range of circumstances and to meet the change in demands. Definitely, a candidate can be successful at oral examinations. Thank you very much. So I am happy to take any question at the Q&A sessions. Thank you very much. The floor is back to Captain Mari.
Thank you, Captain. The time went without even feeling. Quite an interesting delivery, Captain. Got a lot out of you. Please be with us. Hold on. We received few questions while your delivery was in progress. So there's new questions coming in. So let me get them all in and come back to you and the two panelists we have today. Let me first introduce the two panelists. One is none other than Mr. Shane Sankanarayana, who's a well-known lecturing figure in merchant marine sector of Sri Lanka. He's a lecturer and course developer in maritime sciences, port operations, and marine environment. He has worked for 10 years at sea on board various types of vessels, and he has gone up to sea chief officer rank at sea, and then he decided to come on land and sharpen the younger minds. He's been engaged in maritime training and education for the last 12 years. At present, he's working as head of academics in Department of Navigation at SINEC campus, Malabe. Welcome to you, Mr. Shane Sankanarayana. Let me also introduce Captain Nimal Ranasinghe from Sri Lanka Navy. He's the Commodore Sea Training at Sri Lanka Navy, a well-experienced figure in the enlisted Navy sector of Sri Lanka in training division. He's a navigator by profession and a fascinated reader of international relations and defense and strategic studies. He was born in '73 and a proud student of Ananda College, and he graduated out of Sir John Kothalavel Defense Academy in '94, where he joined the Sri Lanka Navy. Before being appointed as the Deputy General at Navy Headquarters, he has commanded fast missile vessel and commanded several Navy bases around the country. He has held directing staff at Defense Service Command and Staff College, officer in command of Fast Attack Craft, training commander, and staff officer at Training Directorate. He's a recipient of the Commander of Navy's Commendation, and he was awarded with FAC Squadron Pin and Surface Warfare Badge for his commendable and bravery service in the Sri Lanka Navy. He also proudly holds the Ranasinghe Gallantry Medal for his bravery in front line. He has completed Bachelor of Science in Management, Technical Science, and Master of Management from KDU. He has completed his staff course in Armed Forces Staff College in Malaysia. He's a well-known instructor in Sri Lanka Navy and a committed gent who is very much into training of Sri Lanka Navy. He's delivered lectures in Sri Lanka and abroad alike, and also been part of the emergency management system development in Australia. I welcome you, sir, also, and thank you both gents for taking your time and coming here today. As you all know, our main focus of this event is to give the younger generation of Sri Lankan sailors a good footing and practical knowledge and help their soft skills. So we invite questions from the students, from the junior officers, from the young mariners, and the youth navigators. And then we compile them and we come back to you. Captain Nimal, I would like to give you the mic first and request from you the hub of orals or Viva in Sri Lanka Navy, specifically talking about the BWKB and ONB, the Bridge Watchkeeping Board and the Ocean Navigation Board. We have a large community of merchant sailors here. Can you take a minute and describe to us how the Viva works in Sri Lanka Navy? Over to you, Captain.
Thank you very much, Captain Mario, and thank you very much for inviting me. And it was my quite privilege and honor. And you have pinned the correct pin where we are the people who are conducting this Bridge Watchkeeping Board and also the Ocean Navigation Board. My institute where I belong, we conduct that. So without taking much time, and I have seen a lot of junior Navy officers who have joined in. There is a quite good takeoff for us. So basically, the Bridge Watchkeeping is for the sub-lieutenant, lieutenant, and acting lieutenant. Where very soon, once they have been commissioned as a commissioned officer in the Sri Lankan Navy, where they will take the responsibility of the ships as the OW, officer of the watch, where they will act on behalf of the commanding of the ship in a given time. So they should have 6 months of sea training, and also while they are appearing for the Bridge Watchkeeping, they should have 3 months completed. He should be groomed under the supervision of the person who is holding a Bridge Watchkeeping certificate, and also commanding officer should direct him and guide him how to do that. So when it comes to the Ocean Navigation Certificate and Ocean Navigation Board, that's all about taking a ship away from the land where you don't have any navigational aids other than stars. So that is quite critical, and they have been trained for that during their initial training period. So they have to do about 20 to 30 sites, that means using stars and sun and moon. So once they have done that, when they have been attached to ships, they will be going on sea training for about 12 days or 14 days. Within that time, they have to complete that. So once the commanding of that ship is satisfied, and when it is recommending, so he will be coming for the Ocean Navigation Board. I think that's enough for the time.
Yes, understood. Thank you for that brief. So, gents, Mr. Shane and Captain Nimal, I will put a single question to both of you. This question has come from the Merchant Navy and also Sri Lanka Navy sailors. How should a candidate prepare himself to go for the Viva or the orals? Now we heard from Captain Upul what he's expecting when the student comes and sits in front of him, which I think would apply to the enlisted Navy as well. But the students want to know how is the best method of final preparation, how they should focus their studies. Mr. Shen, if you would take the question first.
Yeah, sure, Captain Mario. Now, first of all, I would like to emphasize the meaning of competency. Captain Upul, of course, explained about that, but in brief, competency means a mixture of attitudes, knowledge, and skills, right? Attitudes, knowledge, and skills. In a nautical college, we can provide the knowledge, I mean the theoretical knowledge, and to a certain extent, attitudes and the skills. But we cannot give the student 100% skills and attitudes. That is why the STCW code requires to be eligible for a class 3, I mean the OOW certificate, they are required to have 12 months of sea time for a cadet, and for a ABOOS, 36 months of sea time plus 6 months of bridge watchkeeping experience. To do chief mates, need to have 12 months of sea time after achieving the first certificate of competency. Again, to become a master, need to have 12 months of sea time after the certification as a chief mate, because this is a combination of skills, knowledge, and attitudes, right? So in preparing for orals, I mean, if there are any candidates who are planning to do their exams after a year or 2 years, that means they haven't started their academic career yet, my advice is hang around with the good second mate. For OW candidates, I mean the cadets, hang around with a good third mate and see how they are doing their job practically. For those who are planning to do chief mates, hang around with the chief mate and see how he is doing his job practically.
I fully agree with you, sir, because in orals, the examiner is looking at your competence, not just your theoretical knowledge. So the competence comes from, actually doing the job or practically feeling of it. I agree, sir.
So finally, if I have time, Captain Mario, I don't know if you want me to stop, I'll stop, no problem. For those who have already completed their academic career and waiting for orals, now they don't have time to go back to sea and do the things practically to gain the skills necessary. No, for them, my advice is, if you first thing, if you feel that even though you have got through your written exams, if you feel that you are weak in, say, for a class 3 candidate, if he thinks that he is weak in OPS, operational safety, he has got through it, but still, if he consider that he is weak in operational safety, best thing is go through the notes again, study it well, and then think of practical matters. How I'm going to prepare the bridge for arrival? How I'm going to prepare the deck for departure? How I'm going to prepare the bridge for departure? Right? And make your own notes. Then discuss with your friends. That
Captain
is the
Nimal, one moment, sir. Captain Nimal, what is your opinion on the same question?
Yes, I think it is. He has already said what really want, that as that in the examination like what we conduct, they have to have theoretical knowledge, and when it comes to training, there are two aspects like knowledge, skill, and attitude. Yes, knowledge we can check by a theoretical paper, but attitude and skill, they have to do it and see. But in a watchkeeping board or oral exam, we can't check it until unless we let them to do something. So what we do, We just ask questions, we give some case studies to them, we give some, ask them to play a role play, we give the situation, so they will tell us what they are going to do. Then we can understand how much skill they have done. They have, and also how much practicals they have done.
Thank you, James. Captain Upul, are you with us?
Yes, I am here.
Captain, just to wrap up this main question, because it came from many candidates, this question of how to prepare. I'd like you to cap it off. In your opinion, when the examiner takes orals, his ratio of practical to theory, how would you go? Is it a 50-50, or is your focus is more towards practical aspects, or the youngsters they want to know how much of a weight they should give to each side of their delivery?
Actually, at the orals, we can't quantify as a percentage. We don't do quantify. What we're looking at, as I said, as I present in my slides, we are focusing more on critical areas.
Yes.
We want to see more on critical areas, and then in oral examination, we divide into critical and non-critical. And then we're looking at more critical areas. So there can't be any mistakes at the critical areas. It will lead to a failure, a significant mistakes. So it's not that good to us to quantify. It's based on how he present himself on that particular day, and then how he come up with a structured answer to show that he is competent enough. So we are looking at mainly whether he is capable to do the job on the ship, because examiner is taking the role of the master at the examination if he is conducting his examination for chief mate and the officer in charge of a navigation post, because he want to see whether this officer, this candidate can be kept as a third mate or second mate or chief mate on my ship. Right? But when we do assessments, oral examination at the master's level, the examiner is taking the role of the owner of the ship, and he want to see whether I can keep this candidate on my ship, whether I can employ this person on my ship as the master. So then the owner feels more comfortable. So he want to take the shoes of the owner. So likewise, he want to assess, and he will be assessed. So we can't say that this much of practical, this much of theoretical, but want to see whether he's able to perform on the on board the ship, whether he can carry out assigned duties within the framework of his level of responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you for that insight. The examiner sits at the master's position or the owner's position when he comes to a master candidate. Thank you for that insight, James. Mr. Shane, I come back to you. What are the best, give us in simple words, what are the best study methods to employ for us? In your experience, how the children studies or the youngsters have studied and have performed at the end. I understand, we all do understand the individuality thing. Each brain works different, but as a recommendation, what would be the ideal study methods or best resulting study methods in your opinion?
Right, Captain Mario, usually what I tell my students is that don't worry about the exams. Don't worry about written exams. Don't worry about orals. Concentrate on your job. If you can do the job well, you can get through the writtens, you can get through the orals. It is simple as that. So as an example, after delivering a lecture, I usually tell them, as an example, right, take the IMDG code. You take one particular cargo, refer the IMDG code, and see how to segregate the cargo, how to store the cargo, where to store the cargo, what are the precautions to be taken in case of a fire, in case of a spillage, what you need to do, right? So that is the best way of studying. That is the best way of preparing for their job. If they know the job, they can get through the writtens, they can get through the orals. Now, when you take a class 3 candidate, we don't need to know A to Z of MARPOL. MARPOL is a very technical document. But if the bosun asks the third mate or the second mate, third, can I throw garbage? The third officer must be able to instruct him whether to throw the garbage or not. So how are you going to find where the baseline is? How are you going to find what is the distance from the baseline? What does the MARPOL Annex 5 says? Take practical scenarios. Close your eyes, think how you are going to do your bridge watch, right? What are the information you need to collect? And then have a discussion with your own colleagues. For orals, you can't prepare on your own unless you have very good practical knowledge on board. You need to have a discussion with your own colleagues.
Thank you, Shen sir. Thank you. I also agree on that aspect. It's best to share the knowledge and have peer encouragement and peer correction with your own capacity as well. Captain Nimal, there is a question which is specifically relating to Navy Viva exams. Few of junior Navy officers were asking, how does the previous appointments reflect when you come to BWKB or ONB tables of the exam? Do they reflect in a higher manner, or your delivery at the Viva exam matter more? How does that affect? Because some of them say they have more experience in one particular category of vessels or training, and another candidate have less time in different areas. How does that reflect when they come and stand in front of you?
Yeah, now it is a very common question from our junior officers, because we have quite a range of ships. We have large vessels and also fast attack crafts. Where all these things are not practiced in fast attack craft, but in large vessels where they practice each of everything. So they have that issue because. But here we have to understand when they are in training, like before commissioning and also just before the commissioning, they give a sea training for all type of ships here. So in that they should get the experience in all types of platforms. But in the same time, before they are coming to the exam, we make their career profile run through. Then we understand where they have been in these ships. So we don't go for ship specific. What are the equipment there? Because some ships, especially in the fast attack craft, they have a lot of weapons and weapon systems. Where in the bigger ship, they have a lot of navigation systems and surveillance systems. So we don't give any focus on any of these ships specific, but we are asking from the basic. When it comes to radar, whatever the radar you are talking about, the basic radar concept is going to remain same. So we are going to ask about it. When you go for EGDIS or taking the position of the ship and firefighting and their weapon control systems, the basic is going to be same irrespective of the platform they are talking about. So they might be having that, they're quite skeptical about this. I really want to tell you that you'll be coming to me, my dear little ones who is at the joining with us. So we are not going to check on you, and you will not be painless because of the as you are not being in a bigger ship or fast attack craft. So we will be very fair, and we will be giving you the fair opportunity for you to answer and respond to the oral exam. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Nimal. Coming back to Merchant Navy side, there is a question as such, Mr. Shane, and also Captain Upul, I'd like your feedback on this point. Students are sometimes, fair enough, are frustrated when they do have to repeat the exams because Okay, they go to exam, they go to orals and they fail, they come back. Is there, okay, and then now we have a streamlined system, they can apply again, they have 3 attempts, which is very clearly explained at the colleges, the oral structure and reappearing structure and such. But is there any formal way of appealing the results?
Yeah, Captain Mario, I think I can give you the answer. I think even Captain Upul will agree with me. When it comes to competency examinations, it is, if people start appealing again and again, it will be a difficult problem, because there is a master mariner who is an assessor, and he decides that this particular candidate is not capable enough to do his job, right? So if you put another master to assess what he has done, there'll be a conflict. As far as I know, Captain Mario, in any country in the world, in the maritime sector, no reappealing procedures are applicable. I know very well in UK, for written examinations, again, they don't allow reappealing. Only thing is they allow something called administrative check. There, what they do is, if a candidate applies, I mean, I'm talking about writtens, not orals, right? If a candidate applies for an administrative check, the MCA, Maritime Coast Guard Agency UK, they will appoint another examiner just to check whether the addition of the marks are correct, whether the correct marks are entered.
Yeah, the tally of the numbers are,
yes,
and the total is there. Not
yes.
Paper. I agree with this. I also know about this. Captain Upul, Peiris, can you give us a short word on this? So that my idea here is so that the viewership or the candidates have a clear understanding that this is how it is. Because there are floating messages going here and there. We can do this. Why you don't try this? It actually demotivates the candidate to prepare better, which is a wrong way of approaching the exam.
Yeah, as Mr. Shane correctly said, there is no appealing procedure. As you said, also there are 3 attempts allowed, and for a candidate to appear. And if the first attempt is failed, as I said at the end of the examination, there is a feedback. There will be a feedback. Strength and weaknesses will be given, and especially for a failed candidate, it will be more elaborative, and then he will be notified of his weaknesses, the area where he should be improved. And then when he applied for his second attempt after 2 weeks, 14 days, he will not be assessed again the areas where he was successful. He will be assessed on that weak areas. So he can concentrate on the areas where he was poor in demonstrating his competence. So likewise, he can complete his oral examination successfully, because we don't want to again to come back or start from the beginning and then to continue his second attempt. So his second attempt will be focused on his weak areas only. So there will be no what you call appealing or whatever procedure at the oral examination. Thank you. I hope you understood, and I hope you got the message.
Yes, sir. Yeah, crystal clear. Captain Nimal, I have a question from the Navy candidates, but I think it applies to Merchant Navy also. Now you are at a Viva or you are at orals, and your examiner is asking you an open-ended question, which is not your forte or which you have not referred or clearly studied. what would be the best way of responding to such question? Now that I'm the candidate, and I know that this particular subject or this particular question, I do not know the correct answer, or I know 20% maybe. So I know most of the students sometimes fail at trying to wing it or try to, give a flyby answer, and then the examiner gets frustrated. And then I'm looking as myself as a candidate, then the candidate doesn't see this. He's worried, if I don't answer, what will happen to me? What do you think, Captain Nimal? How would be the best way to approach a question which you are not confident in?
Yeah, now the pass mark of the Viva is 80%. He is having a 20 marks to play on. He can go, but he can just say, I don't know, I have not come across this type of situation. But it's a very tricky question you're asking from me, how to avoid that and how to deal with that. So what we can do, what he can do, definitely the thing is this. Now, Navy, the role of the Navy is quite complex, because we do the role of from high intensity war to the humanitarian assistance, both things. And also they have quite a lot of threats from non-traditional threats like illegal smuggling, and I think you have all read the news that a lot of people are applying for Australia. We have to those things doesn't come by just sitting on in front of the radar. We have to be very skeptical, and also we are very careful. So now the role of this junior officer is that he is doing a part of our Sri Lankan Navy role on behalf of the ship, right? So he should be very equipped and also learn properly. So when somebody comes there, there's no way that he doesn't know any of the subject, because we have given the syllabus. He's been, not that he's just asking something from the sky. He has been groomed and trained under commanding officer who is very qualified, and also a keeping junior officer just above him. So I'm sorry that I can't give you a correct answer how to avoid that question. That is just what he can say. Definitely during his tenure, he definitely would have come across any of the situations we are dealing with. So what he can do, he can say whatever the things he knows, but as a board, as the overall board, in the panel, we always encourage him and give him some inputs. So where we ask him to will arouse his ideas and take him what he knows. That's the answer I can give, I think.
Yes, that is the answer I want the youngsters to hear also, from both aspects, not to try and lie, but to give an answer from your knowledge. So not to become nervous. That puts you down in a Viva or in orals. Captain Upul, I have one key question. We are overshooting time in a big sense, but the interest is still remaining. I am getting questions. So I will put up this question because it repeated lively now and previously as well. How does the candidate's stress level matters when he comes and sits in front of an examiner? So compared to a written paper, it's totally different. How would an experienced examiner as yourself would take this? And what is your advice to cadets or OW candidates or management level candidates, how to manage their stress when they come for an orals?
As far as I concern, the stress is a very broader topic, right? And officer in charge of a navigational watch, or whether it is a chief mate or whether it's a master, he should be able to perform under different circumstances. So he should be able to withstand the working pressure and the given circumstances. So he should be able to perform to the maximum even under different conditions. Even if there is an explosion or a fire, he should be able to perform his duties. So even in any emergencies. So likewise, when he comes and appear at the examination also, he should be able to subdue his stress level or whatever exam phobias, and then to answer the questions, because we see some of candidates are, that's a personal issue. I see some of them are, they come in front of the examiner and then they have a complete different behavior. You know, they want to drink water, they are clearing their throat quite frequently. Some of them are say their words are not coming out. We can't do anything about it, but we want to see whether he's confident and able to deliver, to answer the questions. So he has to have, I think, as far as I concern, good preparation, and then a thorough knowledge on the aspects and about his duties. People who are less knowledgeable, less unfamiliar with the situations are showing those symptoms, I would say. You know, at the first impression, we know that he's not keen on the areas, major areas. But as we question, we understand, yes, that's the signs that he has given at the initial stages. So they should be able to cover up those through the knowledge, with the gathering of knowledge. That's I would suggest for the candidates.
Thank you, Captain. So, gents, we are our time slot is done. We have gone a bit over, but a very, very fruitful evening, I would say. There are a few more questions that have been accumulated. With your kind assistance, I will reach you all in the coming days, and hope when you have a few minutes of freedom, respond to them on a mail or whatever platform which is easy for you. Then I can transmit them back to the candidates who are questioning, who are sending the questions. Thank you for the evening. Thank you very much for taking part, giving us this time, taking yourselves off the busy work schedules and tiring days, and taking the time to teach the youngsters and help groom them. Captain Upul Peiris, thank you very much. Captain Nimal Ranasinghe, thank you very much. Mr. Shane Sankanarayana, thank you very much, gents. And the team behind the scenes who are assisting me and helping the Youth Forum grow and become the professional young body which it is now. This is our 6th webinar, and we are being able to have meetings like this, which are very, very, which are matter of essence and importance, and we try to reach the gap between the vessel and the college. That is our try, and I hope attendees have gained something from today. Have a good evening, gents. Once again, thank you for the time and the energy. I thank you, 3 gents, on behalf of all the participants on our Zoom and on our live feed. And this webinar recording will be posted after editorials and be available for the future students as well. So they will be able to gain something out of this, with your permission, gents.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nautical Institute and Captain Mario and the rest of the team. Thank you, and also the other guest participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario, and giving us the opportunity to speak here, and also giving my Navy officers to joining and get a lot of knowledge. And I also learned a lot from these 2 gentlemen, from yourself also. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Mario. And also I'd like to thank Nautical Institute as well. Hopefully see you soon.